Retrospective. Retrospective. Give me a cheer. Woo! Why am I screaming this word at you? Because what is Oda really good at? Well, apart from giving women big, bouncing behemoth bahubas, Oda is also really good at retrospective. Because Oda absolutely and undoubtedly loves working backwards. I said it tons of times during Kaido's video, but Oda is obsessed with showing the ending before the beginning with a lot of characters. Even with Luffy, we started with his childhood, but we didn't get all of it. We only found out about Ace, Sabo, Dadan, Garp, and the Grey Terminal ages later. Luffy did start his journey with Shanks, but his ideals were cemented and formed with Ace. So we had a big chunk of Luffy missing before getting to Marineford. And this is a good storytelling tactic, a brilliant one even, because Oda may have accidentally unlocked the hidden ingredients for what makes a story so addicting. The secret sauce for why we are all so crazy about One Piece and read it like feral animals who got scraps thrown into their pen. Now get ready, you little freaks. I am showing my face in 3, 2, 1. Here I am. I hope I didn't jump scare you this time. Are you happy? Are you happy I'm finally wearing these goddamn Doffy glasses? I gotta take them off though. I truly cannot see shit in them. I've decided I definitely want to stick with keeping my face on the screen because a lot of my favorite creators also do it. Shout out to Murphy Napier. And I really admire them while also really liking their style, so I'm sorry guys, I know change is scary, but I promise you'll get used to my big fat pink fluoro head at some point. It's a good thing to know who's running this channel. I am not a mysterious entity, nor am I a wormy little figure that always wears Doffy's clothes. At least not all the time. Alright, sorry, so where were we? I was talking about how we're all a horde of at least 30 to 50 wild hogs who go crazy for even a drop of One Piece. And why is that? I've talked about this many times before, but one of the major factors is the rereadability. If you haven't reread One Piece, what the hell are you doing? This might sound crazy, but I truly recommend rereading One Piece after every current arc has wrapped up, because I get so many comments on where I get my ideas from or how I notice something, and it's because I'm rereading One Piece all the time. Even when I'm researching one topic, I get so much information on another topic, especially on characters. And it's because with every new thing Oda adds, it links back to something else we have already seen. And when I talk about Oda writing outcomes before causations, that is the thing that blows your mind. A fantastic example of this is Buggy. When we first met Buggy, he was this weird angry clown who for some reason had connections to Shanks. But then we got more information, we got new chapters, and your brain explodes. Just watch my Buggy video if you want to know what I'm talking about, because unfortunately, I think about Buggy all the time. But today, we're talking about a scene I've been wanting to reframe for a while, although I'd say it's a bit of reframing and a lot of recontextualizing, because now we can look at it in retrospect. That's our word of the day if you didn't pick up on it. Today we are talking about Water 7. We are talking about Nico Robin, and we are talking about her farewell. Which farewell could I be talking about here? Is it the train scene? The Enies lobby scene? Both good guesses, but nope and no. The farewell I'm talking about is when Robin is found by Sanji and Chopper in the city of Water 7. Because this is a scene that has aged magnificently in my opinion. And it's aged magnificently because Oda has made it age magnificently. And that's the tell of a very good writer. Let's go over the scene before I break it down. The scene is from chapter 340, and the title of this chapter is The Woman Who Brings Darkness. Already a foreboding title, and already giving us a glimpse of what we have in store. The chapter begins with the city of Water 7 in disarray and panic due to the upcoming annual flood. But the Straw Hats are in disarray too. This is not only taking place directly after Luffy and Usopp's fight, but it's also taken place after the assassination attempt of Iceberg. So Robin, and by extension the Straw Hats, have become suspect number one. However, Zoro reminds us the only faces these people know are Luffy's, Robin's, and his own. So Chopper and Sanji, who are together, are able to roam freely. An interesting note to take is this same situation has happened before in Alabasta, with Sanji and Chopper honestly being an underrated duo in my opinion. Chopper and Sanji are of course searching for Robin, asking everyone they can find if they've seen her around, until Chopper picks up her scent and they find Robin standing across from them on the other side of a canal. Chopper and Sanji are relieved to see her, but Robin drops the bomb that she'll be parting ways with them. As Sanji scrambles to figure out why this is the case, Robin confesses she is actually an assassin, and did attempt to murder Iceberg. And this is when she hits us with what I believe is a classic line. "There is a darkness in me that you and the crew do not know. A darkness that will someday destroy you." After she says this, Sanji remembers what Aokiji told them about Robin, regarding how her presence always makes organizations fall. And Robin somewhat cements this belief when saying the Straw Hats being framed is convenient for her escape. But then, after all these dark words, Robin has a line that feels painfully bittersweet. "I didn't deserve it, but thank you for the kindness you've shown me till now." Robin then walks off, and both Chopper and Sanji frantically move to get her back, as Sanji tries to swim to her and Chopper begs for her to stop. This is the scene within its entirety in the chapter, but of course there's more to the moment itself, such as Sanji telling Chopper a man always forgives a woman's lies, and oh boy, will we get to that. But for now, let's look at everything here, and let me break down why this scene is so good in retrospect to what we know now. Water 7 is a favorite arc of many One Piece fans, and when I say Water 7, I'm combining both Water 7 and Enies Lobby because it is the same plot, guys. It is the same arc. Stop tearing apart arcs into micro arcs, I swear to God. Water 7 covered a lot in terms of themes, especially the theme of feeling out of place, useless, or even dangerous to your friends and family. The three main focuses of this arc were Frankie, Usopp, and Robin. These three characters hold a type of insecurity regarding their place in the world, or at least they did. Frankie is a man who's found his peace and his solution at this time. Robin has been struggling throughout her whole life, and Usopp has only recently been hit by these insecurities like a ton of bricks. We are seeing three different people at different points in time with different healing journeys, all based around the insecurity of existing. But this theme of existing extends beyond that. The theme of being useful extends beyond that, because Robin's connections in this arc are more than just Usopp and Frankie. And this is where I can finally say, when we all watched Robin's farewell scene, did any of us question why it was targeted towards Sanji and Chopper? Why not towards Usopp? Why not towards Luffy? Why was it specifically towards Sanji and Chopper? Because this is not just a random coin toss. This is not Oda throwing his characters into a blender and spitting them out. These characters have been selected for this scene for a reason. And if I really want to recontextualize this scene for you, let's look at the similarities between Sanji and Chopper. While Chopper wasn't there for Sanji's recruitment, Sanji was there for Chopper's. Even as the Drum Island arc begins, with Nami getting sick, everyone turns to Sanji for help. Sanji explains he can only do so much in regards to helping Nami gain her energy back, with the foods he feeds her and the nutrition he gives her, but anything beyond that goes into nursing. In my opinion, this is why Sanji was so involved in Chopper's arc, and why Sanji and Chopper were around each other a lot during Drum Island, because there is a similarity within their methods and their professions. When we look at Chopper and look at who raised him, we turn to Hideluk. And Hideluk was a doctor who cared for the well-being of people. He wanted to heal anyone and make sure everyone was happy. And even when he fell for Wapol's trap, he was just relieved no one was actually sick. Hideluk moved everyone to the point Dalton betrayed Wapol, and the doctors around him felt ashamed at where they'd ended up and what they were doing. Chopper ended up holding Hideluk's will, being inspired by such an amazing man, and now seeks to be a doctor who can cure anyone and anything. But what's the main takeaway from Hideluk and Chopper's relationship for the sake of this video? Hideluk tells Chopper he can definitely become a good doctor, because he holds the most important quality, which is having a big heart. Now, let's look at the Baratier, where we meet Sanji. At this point, I've talked about the Baratier multiple times across all my videos, but that's because the introduction of these characters are the literal roots of their beings, and something we must always go back to understand their principles and cause. And I just also happen to talk about Sanji a lot. Sanji is introduced to us as a childish brat who likes to tease his customers, flirt with ladies, and has a hell of a mouth on him to boot. We watch him beat Full Body to a bloody pulp, and even threaten to kill him for jeopardizing the Baratier. This is because Sanji has a lot of pride in what he does. He has a lot of pride in the Baratier, but he's also got a short fuse due to chaining himself to such a small part of the world for Zeph's sake. After our first introduction, Gin stumbles through the door, and this is where Sanji's true self shines. Even though Gin held a gun to Patty's head and threatened the restaurant as a whole, Sanji could only see a starving man. So Sanji helps him, feeds him, and his kindness is made insanely prominent, because ultimately, Sanji doesn't want anyone to suffer the pain of starvation that he once did. And he also has a big heart. A big heart and a strong kindness for people, which sounds a bit too familiar to a tiny little reindeer we happen to know. If you haven't picked this up yet, both Sanji's and Chopper's professions include human care. The two of them both hold a kindness due to their roles being nothing but caring and giving. While the Straw Hat crew involves a captain, a navigator, a shipwright, a swordsman, a musician, a sniper, a helmsman, and an archaeologist, which members are exclusively caring for the health and well-being of their fellow crewmates? The doctor and the cook, arguably the two most caring and kindest members of the Straw Hats. There's even a fantastic scene after Usopp's fight with Luffy where Chopper wants to go help Usopp, but Sanji holds him back and tells him excessive kindness just hurts the vanquished even more. Because of course Sanji would know that. He understands Chopper wanting to help Usopp. He understands Chopper's pain in that moment, but he also understands Usopp doesn't want pity. This is probably why Sanji then allowed Chopper to quietly give Usopp some bandages and medicine, because the two of them naturally want to help and look after people. And then this also makes sense as to why Sanji and Chopper are paired off after this, because Sanji cannot stop worrying about Usopp either. Hence we get the scenes of them trying to warn Usopp of the Aqua Laguna and then searching for Robin. So when Robin is saying her farewells and she's thanking them for their kindness, She is literally talking to the two kindest members of the Straw Hats at this point in time. Kindness is not taken lightly by Chopper and Sanji. Kindness is their core of character. It's the reason for their being, and it's why this scene is so heartbreaking to watch from their perspective. Because they know Robin's words here are sincere, and even more than that, they know what a broken person looks like. Because what does Robin actually say to them when thanking them? I didn't deserve it, but thank you for the kindness you've shown me till now. Imagine saying that to the two members of the crew whose whole purpose and whole beings is showing kindness. And even more than that, think about Sanji and Chopper's origin arcs. Think about their stories. Chopper was rejected from his herd, finding no love amongst humans or animals until Dr. Hitterluck. Sanji was shipwrecked with a pirate, Zeph, who was a complete stranger to him, who still gave Sanji his food in hopes that this little boy would survive. These two characters specifically were shown a kindness they didn't think they deserved at all. The two of them even questioning why their mentors shown them this kindness, only for the two of them to find family in these used-to-be strangers. So when Robin thanks them, when she says she didn't deserve their kindness, Sanji and Chopper know more than anything, more than anyone else could possibly know, that something is wrong here. Because a truly cruel person doesn't thank anyone for their kindness, and they especially don't say they didn't deserve it. And it's why, when Robin says that, we are met with these truly chilling expressions from both Sanji and Chopper. They know at this point for a fact that Robin needs them more than anything right now. And when I throw this all into perspective for you, isn't that just absolutely heartbreaking? But we knew all about Chopper and Sanji's origins before meeting Robin, so why does looking at this moment in retrospect to current day chapters matter? And to that, I have just one word for you. Monsters. During Robin's goodbye speech, she says the words, "There is a darkness in me that you and the crew do not know. A darkness that will someday destroy you." Once again, with those words, we're shown chilling expressions from Sanji and Chopper. And what was the context of those words? What did Robin mean by that? Well, once we get through Water 7, we discover Robin doesn't believe she has a right to exist. Because, thanks to the world government, the Marines witch hunting her, and the powers that be, Robin believes she's a devil, a monster even. Organizations around her fell due to everyone going after her head, either for her knowledge or her bounty, and she had to look out for herself. Robin didn't want to betray people, she didn't want to hurt anyone, but this world betrayed her first. It hurt her first. She had to rely on lying and manipulating to survive, which made her internalize a great shame for her being and her life. But the interesting part about Robin is, it wasn't just the world government who made her feel like a monster, because she felt like a monster even as a child. Robin's devil fruit scared the common person off, making both her aunt and uncle think she was a freak as well. And Robin's only sense of love and family came from the scholars in O'Hara. Already, Robin's self-worth was very thin, her right to exist damaged upon the reputation she had on her island. And the witch hunt from the world is what extinguished her self-worth completely. Robin wanted to live, but she didn't think she had a right to, because she believed she was a monster. And now, once again, let's look at Sanji and Chopper. I'm sure some of you have pieced this together already, but let's talk about it anyways. Chopper's whole arc on Drum Island, his character, also surrounded him being a monster. Chopper didn't think he was deserving of love. He didn't think he'd ever find a family because he was rejected from every group he tried to find a place in. But this continues on beyond Drum Island, because one does not just immediately heal of their insecurities and traumas. Chopper, up to Water 7, still held doubts of acceptance. This poor little reindeer was so scarred from his life on Drum Island that he held a fear that the Straw Hats would someday reject him, especially if he showed all parts of himself. And when they're fighting to get Robin back on Annie's lobby, and Chopper finds himself cornered in a fight, what happens? Chopper unleashes his hidden form, literally called Monster Point, and hopes none of the Straw Hats see this side of him. And how appropriate that this was done for Robin's sake, a woman who also believes she has a monster within herself. But then, what about Sanji? How does he connect to this theme? This is where retrospective comes into play, because during Water 7, Sanji didn't fit with this monster theme. In fact, he didn't connect with Robin's words at all. The only thing Sanji had was a big heart and a lot of love for Robin. And oh my god, did Oda make everything age so well, from Robin's farewell to Sanji's words of her leaving to the entire train scene where he discovers CP9 is controlling her with her trauma, because years later, over 10 years later, what do we discover about Sanji? He's a runaway prince, a Vinsmoke, a man who's been hiding his past due to a great shame, and was even being hunted down once his face and name were exposed to the world. But it's not just his name or his past, but his blood. We now know he holds inhuman DNA, Sanji having been experimented on in the womb. And what does Sanji say in Wano when his mutations are starting to kick in and he's terrified of what he's becoming? I don't want to turn into a heartless monster. I'm gagged, choked, shocked. Now turn back. Go back to Water 7, and one more time, what the hell does Robin say? There is a darkness in me that you and the crew do not know. A darkness that will someday destroy you. Now think about that. Think about it. Robin held a past that followed her like a curse, destroying everything she touched due to how dangerous her existence was to the world government. Chopper had a hidden monster form within him, a monster that at the time couldn't differentiate friend from foe and destroyed everything in its path. And now Sanji, years later, is revealed to have a monster within him as well. A monster he's afraid of, one he doesn't know if he can control, and one he'd rather sacrifice his own life for than ever let free. There is a darkness in these three characters, a darkness all three of them were originally afraid of. Now, of course, Robin and Chopper have accepted their monsters, Chopper happy to be a monster and Robin happy to be a demon. Sanji, on the other hand, is still battling these demons because his monster has only just been revealed. We still don't know the outcome, but we can only hope he finds an inner peace and acceptance the way both Robin and Chopper did. Either way, the reason this scene has aged so well is because now we know more than ever that Sanji and Chopper understood Robin more than anyone in this moment. What she said can easily be applied to both of them, and it blew my mind upon rereading it in the current day. Before I wrap this up, I think it's fair to quickly address Sanji's words to Chopper when he said a man will always forgive a woman's lies. For some reason, this is an extremely controversial page, and I really don't know why, because Sanji isn't saying let women lie to you, he's saying women lie for a reason. But of course, it's not that generalized, because he's talking specifically about Robin here. He's essentially saying to Chopper that they must give Robin the benefit of the doubt. That's what Robin said to them during her farewell. A lot of it was a lie, and they they must not hold that against her. And of course, he was right, because Robin was lying for their safety. She was trying to separate herself from the crew so they wouldn't sacrifice themselves for her. And Sanji could see that. Why could he see that? Because he did the same damn thing in Whole Cake Island. Sanji didn't want the crew sacrificed for him. He didn't want Luffy running after him or anyone's safety to be in jeopardy for him. So he lied. He said harsh words to Luffy. He screamed at Luffy to leave, and Robin did the same damn thing. I understand why Robin wasn't in Whole Cake Island, because her moment to parallel Sanji was during the Black Maria fight. But it would have been really funny if she saw the Sanji-Luffy fight and said, "A man always forgives a woman's lies." The woman in question this time around being Sanji, of course. Either way, Robin's farewell scene has aged spectacularly well. There's even a special note to make that Robin connected with Chopper and Sanji rather quickly. She connected to Chopper due to the fact she found him to be a cute little beast. And she connected to Sanji due to the fact Sanji is, well, Sanji. Man on him! But even with Sanji's blind trust towards women, this is still a kindness. Robin didn't have to work to make Sanji trust her, like she would have had to do with hundreds of people in her life. And that would have been very reassuring for her. To sum this video up, Robin's farewell is a fantastic example of how Oda works. It's possible he made a lot of this up as he went, but I have a secret for you. That's what all writing is! Writing is having the base of the story cemented and making the rest of this shit up as you go. What makes a good writer is figuring out how your additions affect your story. It's thinking about your roots before planting more seeds. And it's about how these new crops will affect your ecosystem as a whole. How did I get onto a farming metaphor here? Point is, Oda wrote Robin's farewell with a purpose. He picked these three characters. He chose these words, and he made sure they applied to every single one of them, even if it took him over a decade in the making. And how sweet is it that for these three characters, they were promised friendship on the sea, they were promised happiness, they were promised family, and they were promised love. As we see Chopper pushed out by both Hideluk and Kureha, as we see Robin pushed out by Saul, and as we see Sanji pushed out by Reiju, we're told that these three characters were promised better by leaving their torturous pasts behind. And years later, we're shown that they found it, even with the monsters they had to fight, and the demons they had to conquer, even with a darkness hiding within all three of them. They found their happiness, their family, and their love together on the sea. And with that, thanks for watching. Hello everyone, it's me again. I hope my face didn't jump scare you this time, and I promise I would do all these videos with these damn Doffy glasses on if it didn't make it impossible to read. I've been wanting to talk about Robin's farewell scene forever due to everything I mentioned in the video. It's a scene that has incorporated nearly every single reason for why I love One Piece so much and why I get so excited to talk about this series. But what did you think about it? Did you spot these intricacies? Did you not realize any of this? Or do you just like Water 7 and think Robin is a top tier character? Let me know in the comments because I love reading them. Just a quick reminder that I do have a Patreon, and if you'd like to support me there, I'd really appreciate it. However, I know not everyone can support me in that way, and just watching and sharing these videos is more than you can imagine for me. Tips on the video are also nice though, I will not lie. My Patreon also includes how to get into my Discord, but that's only if you'd like to join my little community. If there's anything you'd like to see me cover, One Piece or otherwise, please let me know, and I'll see you in whatever I make next. See ya!